So you've helped about 55,000 families and individuals. It's more
Over
than
80,000 now.
that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And we're
that-
fast hitting 100,000 soon.
That's awesome. Congratulations. And one big question that I have, and I want to back up a little bit from the company, but to the microbiome space itself. Question that I have is how far are we with the science of the microbiome itself? And because when I talk to some gastroenterologists, they say that startups which are out there, there's a lot of hype, but we don't know what we don't know. So I want to ask you, what do we really know? And do we know what we don't know about the microbiome?
That's a great question. So, I mean, kind of winding back, what is the microbiome, right? There are 38 trillion microbes living in and on us. There's the skin microbiome, there's the oral microbiome. I talked about the vaginal microbiome, and then the gut microbiome. But there's tons more sites. The gut microbiome is equivalent to what we hear gut health, the trending term right now, right? Especially on TikTok and whatnot. The reason why the gut microbiome is so commonly talked about is because it's the most accessible through the stool. And mind you, it only can represent the large intestines, not the small intestines. So in our GI tract, obviously, I don't have to educate the GI doctors out there, but I do think it's worth clarifying when we say leaky gut, for example, that actually technically tends to refer to the small intestines because that's where food and nutrients are being absorbed, right? And it's not till the large intestines that water is being absorbed. But that is where most of the bacteria functions are for gut health. That's beyond digestion. It's also immune system is there, also in the small intestines too. But there's a lot of functions that are produced in the gut. For example, 90% of your serotonin is produced in the gut. 50% of your dopamine is produced in the gut. Your gut produces 400 times more melatonin than your pineal gland. So the gut has many functions, gut brain. That's why you hear the gut brain connection. There's the gut skin connection and all that. So it is a lot. And I would say academically, a lot of papers are being published and it's really exploded in the past 10 to 20 years. So if a doctor went to school maybe 30 years ago, 20 years ago, they may not have been educated in this topic. Even now, I don't think schools have caught up and taught this topic. The most common thing I've heard is, oh, the science is not there yet, right? There's one, the science is not there yet for clinical utility. Two, the other thing I've heard is there's no universal healthy microbiome. What I'll say to that is, I'll start from the universal healthy microbiome. We're not looking for a universal healthy microbiome. You grew up in Mumbai or in India. I grew up in Malaysia and Southeast Asia. Now I live here. There's many different kinds of healthy microbiome. But what we can do and where the science is now is that we know the features of a healthy microbiome. So we're not looking for one unique healthy microbiome. Like you and I, maybe there are some components of your microbiome that are healthy. It's some components of mine that are healthy. For example, Prevotella. Prevotella is a bug that loves fiber. We call it the fiber-loving bug. We see more of Prevotella guts in India and Southeast Asia and non-industrialized, less industrialized countries, right? You know about short-chain fatty acids,
Yeah.
right?
Hmm.
It's so essential, and specifically butyrate, because there's butyrate, propionate, acetate, a few other ones, but butyrate is the most important for gut lining, metabolic health, a variety of reasons. We can measure if your gut microbiome has the potential to produce butyrate functions, butyrate. And then we can also measure the metabolites. We have a ProTest, a clinical grade version that can measure the actual metabolites of butyrate. But that goes to show if someone doesn't have butyrate or high butyrate or acetate, then they're most likely their gut lining is impacted, right? So again, we're not looking for one high level score of a healthy microbiome. We can map if you have butyrate function, like do you have digestive capabilities for fiber digestion? Do you have too much protein, TMA, too much BCAA chain amino acids? We can actually see digestive factors. And then we can also measure things like GABA production capabilities, which is your Zen-like molecule for your gut-brain connection. So if you don't have any GABA production, then you may feel more anxiety, right, when you're doing things. So these are all basically papers that are being published in academia right now that we can actually map to your stool tests and show you if you have these functions. And if you don't have these functions, there are clinically evidence-backed ways to increase it through diet, certain supplements, and lifestyle changes. By the way, we don't sell supplements. We are against, I think, microbiome testing companies who do sell supplements because we think there's a conflict of interest. So we care a lot about recommending evidence-based, clinically backed supplements. We don't even make any money from referring you to supplements. Ideally, we recommend that people do food, right? Food as medicine. But, Americans we love the silver bullet. We like the easy way out. We would always recommend eating the right foods to accompany the supplements because long term, you want the diet to really sustain and maintain your healthy microbiome instead of taking supplements. The idea of supplements is to go in there, do its job. When it's done, remove the supplement and maintain through diet. That's our approach.